In this video, we're taking a look at a brand new WWE Elite leaked lineup right here, man, and we are getting it from a guy who bats a very high percentage. We've talked about him quite a few times on the channel, my man Mitchell Craig over on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to call it over there, man. But today, we're getting into a leaked lineup. We're going to talk about it right now, man, so let's buckle up and get into it. We are looking at the WWE Elite Walmart exclusive. I know, make me gag right now, Brad. We're looking at the Walmart exclusive Monday Night Wars line that has been continuing on for years and years at this point. It seems like yesterday it just started, but now we are 11 series in, something like that, and I think the series we're looking at today is going to be Series 12, and if you missed our video from just the other day, we detailed all the different series that are coming in 2026, and this wave right here was left out of it. This is a brand new wave that we did not know about, and we're going to get into it right now. We're up to Series 11, I think it was, but let's get into it with the first figure in this Monday Night Wars set, and it is going to be none other than Goldberg, and in this wave we have Goldberg here, and I'm imagining it is going to be U.S. Champion Goldberg. And Goldberg, not, it'd be cool, honestly. I talked about this before. I really wish they would do a Goldberg that is not in wrestling gear. I would like to see a Goldberg that is going to be in some sort of promo gear or something that's not in the black trunks. It's similar to Stone Cold where, as good as the figures are, as much as they represent the character, it would be cool to see them step outside the box and give us a promo gear or do something a little bit different. But getting a Goldberg here, we have seen something very similar to this. I mean, all you're really getting here is going to be an updated equivalent, unless they change the formula. Maybe they give us something new or something like that, but barring some sort of formula change or something like that, probably going to be the Ultimate Warrior torso, and then it's going to be, probably one of his Ultimate head sculpts, things like this. We have had an Ultimate Edition Goldberg before. We have seen an Entrance Greats Goldberg in the WCW gear. It's not the biker shorts. It is, the standard trunks in the black, but this figure right here, I do believe this figure was supposed to be a part of Series 11, and then they changed it and moved him to Series 12 here, and I think Hulk Hogan replaced him in Series 11, or maybe it was Series 10. I can't remember, but I'll put up the figure that kind of replaced Goldberg, I think, because I want to say that the previous lineup to this Series 12 we're looking at today, that lineup was also leaked, and all of them were correct except for the Hulk Hogan, where they plugged him in over Goldberg, so I guess they fast-tracked him maybe. I'm not entirely sure. These things are always subject to change, but at the same time, maybe they just moved him back a set or a wave or whatever the case is, but the first figure is going to be Goldberg, and also in this wave, it is a Build-A-Figure, which we'll get into at the end, but let's move on to the next figure, which is going to be, we're getting into Lord Steven Regal, man. We're getting Steven Regal here, and I don't know exactly what gear this is going to be for William Regal or Steven Regal, because we do know that our last William Regal was the Build-A-Figure with the NXT microphone and everything like that. That was a pretty cool figure, besides the one head sculpt. Didn't really look anything like it. Actually, both, I wasn't a big fan of either head sculpt, really, but William Regal, I love William Regal. We've been wanting his figures for a very long time now. If you guys remember way back in the day, we did get the Elite 45 William Regal, which is a very outstanding set. That entire set of Elite Series 45 was fantastic, and this is a figure that's pretty underrated, and I actually liked that William Regal a lot from that Elite 45 wave, but the thing about that William Regal is it came out so long ago, we've never seen an update, and I'm wondering, he used a picture of Steven Regal or William Regal in the singlet in the photo. I don't know if it's meaning this is exactly what we're going to be getting, or if it's hinting towards something, or if it's, sort of a random photo, but usually when he puts these photo collages together, he puts these graphics together, I want to say that the figure photos that he, or not the figure photos, but the photos of the talent that he shows in these images is typically in line with what the figure looks like. Not every single time, but I want to say that that is the case here. And so if that is the case, it will not just be a straight up re-release of the Elite 45. Now, I think the Elite 45 is a strong figure. It did have one of those cool entrance jackets, even though I hated them. It's one of those hard, solid rubber deals where you can't pose the arms. It's very, whatever. It has details, but, you can't pose it around. I hate that stuff. So it would be nice to maybe introduce maybe some cloth goods into that figure or something like that. Maybe if it was in the Legends line. I feel like the Legends line always gets cloth goods, and then these other lines get rubber and stuff like that. Not every single time. It's just, I don't know, but maybe rubber goods have kind of come and gone. They still give us some, but I'm saying they're pretty on point now with the cloth goods. So maybe this William Regal figure, we'll have to see what he looks like and everything, but I am excited for this, and we haven't seen him in a very long time, so I'm all aboard the Regal train. I'm all for those figures right there. But let's move on to the next figure, which is going to be a pretty cool one here. It is going to be Bret Hart from his promo battle with Shawn Michaels and I think this is sick. This is specifically from 1997 in the wheelchair, where Shawn Michaels comes out and he's got I think he's got like the turtleneck deal on, or the white long sleeve or what have you, and Bret Hart is sitting in the wheelchair with the microphone. This is a pretty interesting figure, and I hope to God they do this if this is the moment that they choose, and again, this is the image that they were using for the graphic. I'm hoping if they're using this, they're using, some new things here. Maybe we'll get the 3-pack from the WrestleMania 13 set with Stone Cold and Ken Shamrock. Hopefully they use one of those head sculpts, or maybe both. He's going to have the leather jacket. I imagine it's probably going to be like Roddy Piper. I doubt it would come with a leather. I doubt it is going to come with a leather jacket, cloth goods accessory. I don't think that would be the case. I guess it's possible, but I would imagine it's probably going to be similar to the Monday Night Wars Roddy Piper, where they give him the leather jacket arms, and then the shirt is underneath, kind of painted on with the, the vest rubber goods, and then on the bottom, maybe they do something with Stone Cold Steve Austin from the Elite Series 122, where they'll have the shorts molded on there, and they'll be painted, and it'll be in the denim color, and then they'll give him the knee wrap and stuff like that. So that would be really cool if they were to design it that way. I think that would make for a better action figure than, doing something differently with stacked cloth goods. You don't want an Evolution Target exclusive, Evolution 3-pack Triple H situation where you're stacking cloth goods. I imagine they'd probably use that formula with Roddy Piper, give him the leather jacket arms, and that would probably give you the best looking figure aesthetically. But I'm also interested to know if they could put the wheelchair in the packaging itself, and even what if they put him in the packaging sitting in the wheelchair? I think that would be kind of crazy as well. So we'll play that by ear. We'll see what comes of that. I don't know if maybe they've tooled a new wheelchair that is going to be something you can put together behind the figure. I don't know exactly, but we'll have to, of course, cross that bridge when we come to it. But this is a really cool moment, and I think people will get a kick out of that, and we'll see what comes of that. Kind of pun intended, maybe. But that Bret Hart figure could be kind of cool. I think that's really sweet, and I think this is 3 solid figures here in the Monday Night Wars line, especially if you're getting some new things, and it's not just going to be some repaints and retools, stuff like that. And hopefully we get some really, fresh things here. But the last figure in this set for Series 12, before the Build-A-Figure, is going to be Ultimate Warrior from 97. I think it's 97. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's from when he gifts that painting to Jerry Lawler or whatever, and then he, puts it over his head or what have you. And it'd be cool if they included that accessory with the figure, but he's got the hat on, and, his face paint with Warrior baseball cap, got the hair pulled back. I think that's kind of a cool figure there. So, I know a lot of people aren't really big on the Ultimate Warriors because they feel like we get them a lot, but this is kind of a different take, and I don't really mind it. We have seen Monday Night Wars Ultimate Warrior before, and the last one was a pretty solid figure. I know it wasn't the most memorable thing ever, but I liked how, I don't know, it almost seemed like they went over the top with that figure. It was a Elite equivalent of the Nitro Stage Crowdfunder Ultimate Edition, if you guys remember that way back in the day. I feel like I say way back in the day, it was just from a few years ago, but you know what I'm talking about. But this Ultimate Warrior, kind of a deep cut, a little bit of a different take there, similar to Bret Hart. I feel like this wave has a bunch of different moments and stuff, so I think that's really what could make the Monday Night Wars special, is going after specific moments and recreating those from people remembering it, instead of just picking a random figure from that time period. But I like this wave. I think it's solid. Again, it's going to have to all be said when we actually see the figures. I think that's really going to be the thing that really ties it all together, if it is a hit or a miss. But the last figure, and you could argue the most important figure, is going to be the Build-A-Figure here, which is pretty cool. And we have seen a Build-A-Figure of one of these characters, or of this character before, and that is going to be Paul Bearer. We're getting a Build-A-Figure Paul Bearer here, and in the image he's using, it is going to be a Kane representation, or red suit Paul Bearer, which I think is pretty cool. And I can't remember, again, I was very young, and I don't remember this off the rip. Somebody can let me know. But I can't remember if Paul Bearer wore the red before he was with Kane. I don't think he had. And then I want to say this was around 99 or 2000 when he wore the red suit or the red jacket. And I think this is a pretty cool figure here. So it would be interesting to see what formula they use, if they use for a smaller build, or if they'll go for that Elite 106 build, like we got way back in Elite Series 106. You guys remember they had the regular version and the Chase variant in the Navy. I'm interested to know if they're going to use that exact build. I don't think they'll use that build because that figure wasn't a Build-A-Figure, so maybe they'll use some sort of other thing, or maybe they're tooling a new suit or what have you. And I think he wore a turtleneck though, didn't he? So maybe it'll be a new turtleneck, kind of larger mold, so we'll see. But that's kind of cool. You can pair it with your Kane, and I think it would go really nice with your Ultimate Edition Kane that you got with your Raw Attitude Era ring, and that would make the most sense to me. So we'll see again what comes of that. But Paul Bearer as the Build-A-Figure. Now, we did get a Build-A-Figure Paul Bearer way back in the day, and this was years and years ago. I want to say 7, 8 years ago now. We got a basic wave Build-A-Figure Paul Bearer, and I remember that being one of the first Build-A-Figure sets that I actually completed, because for a long time, I wasn't really completing the Build-A-Figure sets, and then I think that was I think it's because it was one of the first waves where I walked into the store and found the whole thing right off rip, and I bought them all right there, and that was a great day. So now we can finally get that. I think I sold off that Build-A-Figure Paul Bearer a long time ago, but getting a Paul Bearer there in the red suit will be really cool to go with the rest of the thing there. But this is a look at the full set. So in Monday Night Wars Series 11, this is the wave before the leaked wave. This is going to be Hulk Hogan. This is going to be your Headbangers wave, and this is also going to be Bryan Adams. Now, this wave, again, specifically, Wave 11 was leaked prior to this from Mitchell Craig, and he nailed it, except for the Hulk Hogan replaced the Goldberg when it was officially released, and now in Series 12, we're getting the actual thing there. And I want to say he even nailed the Build-A-Figure last time. So, again, we talk about people not batting 1,000, but Mitchell Craig, he bets a very high percentage. So, shout out to Mitchell Craig for the information here, man. But I'd love to know what you guys think of this entire leaked lineup here as we get into it. I think it's interesting. None of these characters really are close-knit for me personally, but at the same time, I think that all of these are solid. And again, it's going to come down to different things that are included. How well the figures executed, what's their formulas, what are they coming with, all these different things. But you're certainly going to get some cool updates and what can make for some pretty cool and toyetic figures. So we'll see what that all entails once it is unveiled. And I'm sure we'll see a new gallery coming soon. I don't know if these figures will be included. Probably not, because these are kind of further along. We'll probably see these probably at Mania if I had to guess, but maybe I'm wrong. We never know. But I'm getting the hell out, man. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for me in this news video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section, but I'm getting out. I appreciate you guys. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.